Okay, I'm recording this video after close of trade Wednesday, the 11th of August 2010, and we had a huge move in the market today. We end up down almost 35 points, and actually in the after hours session, I think it's based on the Cisco news, we've moved down another 11.5 points. A little bit of a bounce, but that means the total move from kind of top to bottom in 24 hours is virtually 46 points, which is just enormous. So just a great move on the downside. Hope you're able to kind of get out of any long positions and kind of take some positions short. This was, if you didn't see yesterday's video, this is what I was talking about yesterday. If I look at my highest time frame tick bar chart, the 40,500 tick bar chart, we had end of trend warning signals come up mid last week with exhaustion buying, and a second cyclical turn after an end of trend warning signal here was made on a bearish divergence after our exhaustion buying, and then we had another cyclical turn on the Tuesday with very weak buying here, another bearish divergence signal. These kind of professional blue bars at the highs here, you can see showing the professionals were kind of taking profits, getting out, going short, and resulted in just a huge move to the downside. So hopefully you got to catch some of that. Just it's probably worth noting that I record my videos probably about three or four hours after the close. They're up on the site usually within that time. If you subscribe by RSS reader, you'll get them virtually instantaneously after that. However, if you're subscribed by email, they're just delivered once a day, which is usually about 3 or 4 hours before the open. So I know a large part of that move had kind of got going before a lot of people who subscribe by email received the update, but that's just nature of the beast. It's just the way the technology is kind of set up. So anyway, let's talk about where we're going from now. So had this huge move. The volume wasn't kind of extreme on the downside. It was 2.2 million contracts, which was only just above kind of average volume. Funnily enough, when we look at the better volume indicator here, but it was extremely large compared to what we've had in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So and the move just kind of got rolling early in the morning after the kind of gap down in the overnight session, just kind of kept on going. Now this means that this cyclical turn on the better sine wave indicator is going to play out to the downside. So we're now in a down trend once we kind of break below the cyclical resistance level here. And so the next point to look for is the cross on the daily better sine wave indicator, the cyclical kind of support level that's going to come in. So I'm sure we're going to have some kind of toing and froing on this the way down. And we had some exhaustion selling signals during the day, but this down move, what I'm saying, is basically not over. So it's just a question of where we finish up. Just looking at the X trend, so this is the better X trend based on exhaustion buying and selling volume, and I talked about this again in yesterday's video. So we're in an uptrend, and that we had our support here, trailing stop here just below the low of this bar, and so we've broken that pretty convincingly to the downside, which means we're now in a downtrend when it comes to the better X trend indicator. Just interesting when I look at this on a weekly chart. The weekly chart was showing yes, we actually have been in a downtrend for a couple of two or 3 months here, and this was where the trailing stop was being trailed at 2750 here, which is kind of the high that I was talking about yesterday, and so we've made a down move. Now this is on the weekly charts. This hasn't. I think this week's kind of going to end up being a white exhaustion selling down bar here. So that'll be the trailing stop that will kind of move down. So just because the week's not over, this bar has not kind of been painted yet, but I'm guessing it's going to look like one of these other kind of white bars kind of going down. So just a quick recap on where we're at. So this is the 40,500 tip bar chart, the highest tip frame chart I look at for kind of trend direction and swing trading type time frames on the E-mini. So this was the cyclical turn, the professionals here. You can see, yes, towards the end of today's session, we did make a cyclical turning point. We've got 4 blue professional bars, kind of profit taking and stopping volume on the way down. We kind of pushed through that. As I said, I think that was kind of the Cisco news, kind of on low volume kind of amateur bars, kind of pushing down to these kind of 73.25 level. I think it hit on the downside. So the question is this going to be some kind of support that we're kind of putting in here? Now, because we've broken it to the downside, not necessarily. It's going to have to wait and see where that kind of plays out. But we've not got an exhaustion kind of selling signal yet. Not sure about this. The amount of selling that was taking place today was pretty extreme here. I think the reading here on better momentum was -65.5, and the peak that we we saw up here a couple of days ago was positive 68. So we're in the vicinity, although that's not kind of printed as an exhaustion selling signal, because it's not as great as or greater than the selling that happened kind of in this previous peak. It's of that order of magnitude, so it could be enough for us to say that that's kind of exhaustion selling on the downside. Now what we need to see, if that's the case, is we need to see some bullish divergence signals to print. So, similar to the bearish divergence signals that we had here, we need some bullish divergence signals to come in. So, and we're ways away from that. This bottoming process will take a little bit of a while. And then if we look at just one time frame down, the 13,500 tip bar chart, you can see here, this is these levels I was talking about, that the low of the previous day, the 1108 level, was kind of key, then the 1100 level was going to be key. So when we broke below here, this 1108 level, the move kind of gathered some steam, and then on this time frame we broke into a downtrend when we broke below this cyclical support at 1105. And there's our exhaustion kind of selling on this time frame. You can see some bullish divergence patterns coming in, and the professionals kind of buying in at the lows here. So, but the critical point on this time frame is we've not seen a pullback or an end of trend warning signal here on this time frame. So they'll probably show up sometime tomorrow or the next day, during the next couple of days here, a pullback and an end of trend. But I wouldn't be saying that we're going to kind of get a reversal in trend until we've seen that on this time frame. So still some activity on the downside, a bottoming kind of process being made, from which we'll kind of have a little bit of a bounce. But when we go back to the daily time frame, it does mean that we're still in a downtrend here, and we're a few days away from making a cyclical low here. And then just to talk about the euro, because we've got a similar kind of pattern on the euro. So the euro is making this high. I talked about this yesterday's videos. We made our end of trend warning signal here. The buying activity was so strong, we kind of poked above that end of trend and then made a second cyclical turn after an end of trend that was above this end of trend warning signal. But that's when the exhaustion buying volume, I beg your pardon, came in here to show that we got an extreme buying at this point, and then the market kind of fell off. This bounce, if you like, that we had in this last piece was just because the euro had been so strong, and that was kind of the sellers trying to get going at this point, and that wasn't enough, and we kind of bounced from there. So then as soon as 33.5 level kind of was up at the highs, and then we had this cyclical low kind of come in just about 30.50 on the euro. We've broken through there, and you can see, yes, we've had our exhaustion selling signals on the downside, but again, no end of trend warning signal here. If we back it down to one time frame below here, again we're below cyclical support at this level here. We've broken into another downtrend. We've got our exhaustion selling here, starting to make some bullish divergence patterns here with a little bit of professional activity kind of coming in, but again waiting to see another kind of pullback and end of trend warning signal here on the downside to say that's when we might get a little bit of a bounce kind of coming into the market. So there we go. So just expecting kind of continued weakness as we try and find where the bottom level is on this particular kind of move to the downside. Not going to be taking any kind of long trades until we get, or swing trading long trades until we get some kind of end of trend warning signal on these higher time frames. So there we go. Hope your trading went extremely well today.